From Council Bluffs, in charge of caring for people with disabilities, is arrested. It's alleged that she stole from one of them.
Detectives tell 6 News she bought electronics and clothes for herself with the money. Brian Mastery is investigating the background of this facility and the company, and he joins us now live in the studio.
Aaron, her name is Teresa Sanchez. She's 53 and lives in Council Bluffs. Council Bluffs police arrested her days ago for felony theft, alleging she stole more than $11,000 from an individual with intellectual disabilities, someone in her care. This building on North 35th Street in Council Bluffs is the home to a number of individuals with intellectual disabilities. Maximum occupancy, 8 clients. It's called REM Iowa, and there are similar facilities in 17 other Iowa communities. According to Council Bluffs Police Supervisor Teresa Sanchez stole from one of the clients. These mentors have access to their individual debit cards so they can purchase items they need throughout the year. Investigators allege Sanchez used the card for herself, from buying a TV to a vacuum, video games, and clothes. Detectives say DHHS officials noticed the discrepancies first, when a number of the receipts showed expenses for plus-size clothing. That stood out because the client weighs 90 pounds.
So we were able to put together a spreadsheet of the dates and times where this client's money was spent. We ended up calling in the suspect for an interview. During that interview, we were able to present those facts of the case to the suspect.
Detective John Meyer is with the Council Bluffs Police Department. He tells 6 on Your Side investigates there are 71 questionable receipts. The receipts are to be returned to the cardholder, in this case, the individual in her care. Investigators say the TV and vacuum were in Sanchez's home.
Somebody who's mentally disabled, they don't have a voice for themselves.
6 on Your Side checked records with the Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals. The Council Bluffs site has 11 federal violations in the last decade. The most recent ones deal with the mentors not following the treatment plans or engaging with the individuals in their care. In one instance, though, in 2016, REM Iowa Council Bluffs was fined for not notifying state authorities when 2 clients were engaging in sexual conduct. John and Aaron, I asked REM Iowa how they can assure the families who depend on their care to trust them. The corporate communications team with the parent company, Savita, sent me a statement that says, in part, privacy, safety, and well-being of the individuals we serve is our top priority, and that they're cooperating with the investigation. On Your Side, Brian Mastery, 6 News.